Oh no.
Missing.
Greg?
Missing.
I thought this was a duet.
Missing.
Oh, so you're just gonna sing all the parts? Those are not the right sounds.
Missing.
Can you hear me?
Missing. Oh, missing.
Bonk.
Welcome to Miss Thing. I'm Greg.
And I'm Tim, and this is a podcast that celebrates and appreciates the missed things of the past, present, and future.
Yeah, in every episode, we take a key moment from our Miss Thing's storied career and do what we are most talented at, of course, which is making it all about us.
Yes. I feel like I haven't seen you somehow since, I don't know, 2021.
Sure. Yeah, it feels like that. But, every day is a whole year.
Yeah.
These days in
You famously
2021.
went on a trip. I don't know if you're going to talk about it in one of your segments.
Yeah, well, why
but-
don't we sort of save that for when
okay.
I'm ready to talk about my
I'm just
trip.
saying that I missed you because I haven't seen you in like truly, I want to say 400 years.
Sure,
Yeah.
that's beautiful.
Yeah.
And you didn't say you missed me. You just said you hadn't seen me. Now
Well,
that you
now
say you missed me,
yeah.
now I'm touched.
And now you'll talk about it.
I will talk about it in
When
my
you're
own
ready.
time.
Okay.
I do have something that I do
Okay.
really want to talk about, though. It's been something that's been weighing on my mind, I want to say, for the last
Okay.
400 years since we
Okay.
last saw each other. We need to talk about the thumbs up tap back.
Oh.
How do you feel about that?
Well, I don't personally do the thumbs up because I feel like I already know where you're going to go with that, which is that is very aggressive and abrasive to do to someone. It's basically a slap in the face.
Well, yeah, it's heart or don't even start, in my opinion.
Yes, and I am the same with just doing the heart, and I have actually famously been told by many a loved one that they don't like when I do the heart, but I'm like, I'm a busy man, and sometimes you don't always have a response to, like, they'll be like, I'll be there at 7 p.m. And you're just like, heart. Like, okay, do you want me to, like, okay. Like, there's not that much to, and I understand that they want to, but, like, there has been some friends of the pod, let's just say.
Oh, boy. We could name a few.
We could name a few who I have been specifically, that doesn't fly with them. And so you actually have to do, like, okay, or like, sounds good. And I'm just like, oh.
Yeah, you have to
has the
respond
time?
verbally.
Yeah.
But yeah, no, that's fine. I'm fine with a heart response.
Me
it
too.
shows that you care.
Yeah.
But if you give me a thumbs up, it's like,
I want your whole family to die.
yeah, it's like tie an anvil to my feet and throw me out to the middle of the ocean because, like, what am I supposed to do with that? I may as well die.
Yeah.
Like, you want me dead.
I listen, I agree where the thumbs up, like, shouldn't even exist. Take it out. Take it out of the equation.
Right.
Because there's no way to not see it passive aggressively. It's like, hey, like, can you, get, like, would it be all right if you came here at 11 a.m. tomorrow or something? Thumbs up. It's like, okay, they hate me.
Right.
Yeah.
Why don't you tell me to go fuck myself?
Yeah,
It would be
exactly.
more polite.
Yeah.
No, it's the worst thing you can do to someone. I think it's evil. It's horrible.
Yeah.
I think I sent you a thumbs up earlier today.
I'm sure
But I
you,
was
but
trying
I don't actually take it, like, I guess it's like if I know that, like, if it was you who sent it, like, I would know whatever.
Yeah.
I think it matters more when it's like a lesser known person, or like someone you're not as close with.
I agree. I think the only time it's acceptable to send a thumbs up tap back is
Yeah.
in like a professional exchange when you don't want to come
Yes.
on too strong.
Yeah.
And even then, like, I'm very, very sensitive. You're hurting my feelings. Like, I would like to know you've got a little bit of heart
Yeah.
towards me because I give so much of my heart to everyone.
Well, what's funny, which we should probably talk about here, is that it's okay if I do it. It's okay if I do it, but how dare you do it back to me? It's
No, of
like,
course.
it's like, sure, it made sense to do the thumbs up right there.
Sure. When
And
I do
how
it, it's
could
nice.
you be sensitive about it? And then
Right.
if you do it to me, I'm like, That's like, do you not understand that you're an evil person and how destructive that decision was and how it made me feel?
Of course. It's so the new exclamation point. Since no one sends emails anymore, it's like, how many exclamation points do I do? Do I put one on this sentence? Do I do it?
Yeah.
And you're moving all that around. Yeah, I mean...
You're better than that. Like, you are really good about not doing an exclamation
Sure.
in an email. And then we've had to co-write some for this pod. And
you're all exclamation.
And I'll do exclamation like every other word.
Yeah, you're replacing eyes with exclamation points. You're doing full pink.
Yeah.
And that's strange, but that has its own charm.
It's kind of my own thing, you know.
Yeah, and
it's like Tib with the tip of the I in both my first and last name.
Sure, you replace all the I's with exclamation points and end all of your sentences with a thumbs up emoji.
Very Cher.
So Cher. By the way, finished her book. Incredible. Can't wait
right?
for part 2.
It is, for everyone who's not listened to it, it's like, it's so like deserving of a part 2.
Oh, well, yeah. I mean, we don't even get to the acting career. If she leaves you on a cliffhanger and you're just like, so thirsty for more. I mean, of course,
we're still in the 70s when we finish. It's like, Cher, we've got the 80s, 90s, 2000s, like we've got so many decades.
Sure, we're in her like grandmother's adolescence until about 3 hours in.
And yet it's still riveting.
Oh my God. Yeah. It picks up after the third hour, I will say. I'm sure it's not even born like halfway through the first book. But when she's born, she's a total star from the jump.
It is also, it's just crazy, her, like, you know, like, normalizing things where it's like, she's at the Playboy mansion and, like, how she started working with Bob Mackie. Like, there's just certain things that are so normal to her that we're like, oh my God, this is, like, lore. She's
the ultimate cool girl and also ultimate Taurus. She brings it up a few times, as you know.
I think we can cut this, but I was like, I went onto TikTok to check something. And the first thing that popped up was like, your tarot card reading if you're a Taurus. And I was like, what is Greg following on this?
I'm not following anything, but they know that a Taurus is watching.
I don't believe for a second that you don't follow like Taurus tarot card accounts.
It is crazy because they like TikTok. I don't follow much on our like mutual TikTok, although I should start. You want us to follow you, you know, follow us, send us a DM. Do you do that on TikTok? Well, message us.
Oh yeah.
I think there are DMs on DM us on Instagram. Follow us there. We'll follow you back. To the Jennifers. We love you.
The pod.
But it is weird how TikTok all of a sudden starts to know and then they make that first astrology guess and they guessed right. Well, anyways, I think it's time for our first segment, which of course is
Dad Mom Sauce. I got so nervous.
I know. I'm putting you on the spot. See, this trip changed me.
It really, for the better, for good.
Coming soon, Cynthia. We are pulling for you.
And Cynthia, I just have to say, you were killer at the Grammys. And that's actually going to lead into my Dad Mom Sauce.
Well, Dad Mom Sauce, we do have to say it's Doll of the Day, Mother of the Moment, Sister of the Second, our famous first segment where we talk about the person, place, or thing that we are currently most obsessed with right now.
Yes.
And you have one ready to go.
Yes. I cannot be more excited about my Dad Mom Sauce.
Okay.
And it is, I mean, talk about, like, this is healing my inner gay boy, which is abracadabra, abra unana, abra ga ga ga.
Thank God you brought it up. Or, you know, gender non-conforming excrexpedex,
Yes.
as I like to call it. Takes a long time to type out.
I literally cannot get enough of this song. I am so... It feels like when you have been a Gaga stan for since 2008/9, it is like such wish fulfillment. It is what I wanted Perfect Illusion to be.
Sure.
When there was so much lead up to what Joanne was gonna be.
Yeah.
And then like when this came out, I was like, yes, Gaga.
Yeah. Promise of the present.
Yeah.
Promise of the...
I was like, is that your new memoir?
Promise of the premise. We are back. We are back with Gaga. The visuals. I mean, it's serving Alejandro. It's serving Bad Romance. This is what we've been begging
it's going
for.
to be a good song when she name checks herself.
Totally.
If Gaga is somewhere in the lyrics, it is a good Gaga song.
Right. You're like, this is what we want.
This is exactly what we want. This is like what we came here for.
Totally.
And I have been... So she premiered it. I was watching the Grammys live.
Yeah.
And I was... Anthony was under the weather, and we like ordered burgers from like around the corner.
Sure,
and
the burger will make you feel better.
Exactly, yeah. And so I was gonna go pick it up because he was not feeling well. I was literally a block away.
Sure,
but then I kept doing.
You do always tell me that there's no restaurants near where you live. And
there's just this one place, which is a really good burger. No, not by me. Where he lives.
Okay. Well, you saved yourself there.
Yeah. And so. But I kept doing the famous thing of like, I'll do it at the next commercial break, you know?
Yeah, famous
And I'm also kind of like, well, I'm going to pick it up, so it's like, should be on my schedule,
Oh.
really, you know?
Yeah, of course. Like,
and so I just was like, I just want to, because then it would be like Chappell Roan's performing, or like, you know, Doechii or whatever, and I was like, I don't want to miss these performances.
Yeah.
And so then finally I'm like, okay, I'm going to go at this break, and then it was the Gaga music video, and when I tell you, I don't regret for a second him having to wait for another 15 minutes for the next commercial break, because it gave me life. I could not believe how good it was. It's been in my head for the past 5 days now.
Yeah.
And I literally called and left Anthony voicemails just singing it to him, to the point where
he doesn't want to talk to you.
He actually was like, can you actually stop singing Abracadabra to me? And I was like, no, I'm hazing him with the song. I love it so much.
He does the famous joke, who sings that? And you say Lady Gaga, and he says, let's keep it that way.
That is such my dad's favorite joke.
Hilarious joke. It works every time.
You know what my dad does still to this day? Every time goes, what'd you do with the money?
What's that?
You say, what money?
What money?
And then he goes, the money for singing lessons. A little more cutting.
That's pretty cruel.
And every time he laughs really hard.
Yeah, I don't want anyone saying that to me.
Yeah,
I don't think I can handle. You might as well just give me a thumbs up. Actually, I'd prefer that.
But anyways, I'm obsessed with the song. Gaga, I'm so here. And I also think everyone slept on Disease. It is such,
I agree.
They are so cohesive, the two songs. I'm excited.
And the videos.
Yes, exactly.
Yeah, I think it's incredible. I'm totally with you. I was telling that what I love about what Gaga's done with her career is she started so strong and she became famous for being her and being out there, but she was still too weird for like the moms and the people in the middle of the country. And I just feel like she then branched out and did all these other things to show people just how talented she is, like at the more traditional things that are a bit more palatable for everyone. And now she's like bringing us all back to who she is, the core of what like Gaga is. And like everyone is accepting it and into it because like they've all been like exposed to her and know how talented she is. It's amazing.
Two other things that I want to say about her, which is one, thank you, fiance Michael, I think is his name, Michael, because I'm pretty sure he co-wrote this with her and has been like begging her to go back to her first album music.
So smart.
Which I'm like, okay, we've got a little monster in there working
thanks,
from
queen.
inside the house. Yeah. Greg, what is your dad mom sauce?
Well, it's time for me to talk about my trip.
Oh, finally. You've broken through that barrier.
Yeah, you're not going to I'm going to do it in my own time, as I said. I'm very Gaga in that way.
Yeah.
My dad mom sauce is the city of Mexico City.
I'm so jealous. I've never been. I want to go so bad.
It is truly like the coolest, most beautiful, most vibrant city I've been to in years. It was so energizing. There was so much to do. The people are so cool and pretty and well dressed. Like it's green everywhere. It's walkable. Truly, you want to stop in every single store and restaurant. Like there's not a bad bite of food to be had. It's just... an amazing place. I can't wait to go back. I want to do like a big trip. Yeah, that was the thing. It was like Mexico City. It's so close and convenient from Los Angeles.
How long is that flight?
It's like a 3 hours max.
Wow. Okay,
it's
that's
so
great.
yeah, it's so easy. And then it's like it's really cheap. I think like the price has gone up because there's a lot of, Americans that have moved there, but it feels truly international and like the vibes are so good.
Should we move there?
Well, that's okay. So I got there and within an hour, like occasionally I do this with a city. Within an hour, I was like, is Mexico City safe from climate change? Because it's like so green and lush and like it's kind of landlocked. And it was like, actually, no, Mexico City's like kind of one of the worst places to be for climate change. Like they're running out of water, but also they're sinking. So I'm like, well, that doesn't totally make sense to me. Yeah. But like, I'd be willing to stay there for a few years to sort of ride out what's going on here.
There's supposedly, I read skimmed one article once. Can't tell you the publication.
Facebook.
That said there's some. I want to say it's somewhere like west of Chicago, but east of us in California, where it's like supposedly the like safest place to live from climate change in the United States. Like it's like the lowest percentage chance of like hurricanes, tornadoes, earthquakes, like getting too hot, getting too cold, like all the things that could potentially...
I think I know what... I think it was like Denver. It's somewhere in Colorado. Okay. That was saying this to me.
And now like so many people are moving there.
Montana, I think, was also...
I think it was Montana.
Yeah. Well, yeah. Oh, all the rich people started... Montana used to be really cheap, and all the rich people, especially from here, like all went and bought all the land up there. I mean, who knows? Okay. Well, anyways,
I'll move to Montana. Sure. Yeah, you'll move to Mexico City.
Well, you need to move to where? You're moving to London to film a show.
Yes, and also Canada. But it's going to be about Portofino. I'm writing a show about Portofino, but I have to move to London to make it.
Oh, right. So, highlight of the Mexico City trip, I went to Pujol, which is, at one point, I don't know if it is right now, but it was the 5th best restaurant in the world. Pujol. I kept calling it Pujol. My first child. Yeah. I did keep calling it Pujol because technically that is how it would be pronounced en español. But I was corrected. It is Pujol.
And what do you eat at Pujol?
It's like a multi-course, amazing menu. It was on like chef's tapas? Table. Oh. No, it was on chef's table, multi-course. They have this thing like basically it's like a grandmother mole. It's been over 10 years that they just like keep replenishing it. Okay. And they serve that like on a plate with like.
Wait, what do you mean it's been over 10 years?
They've been like there's been a mole, like a grandmother mole in the kitchen.
Like a kind of like a what is the bread starter?
The sourdough. It's essentially like a sourdough. Yeah, and they keep like replenishing it. So like on the menu it says it's been 3,768 days or whatever, and they like handwrite it in every day. Yeah, it's really amazing. It's so like ayahuasca, like you eat the mole.
I didn't know that mole. That's what happens with mole. Okay.
Well, mole is like it. I think it the complexity of the flavor like adds the more you the longer it sits. Sort of like your turkey wraps.
I'm not acknowledging that, but that
your daily turkey wrap.
I gotta have it.
Sorry, doxing you on the podcast.
But is the I remember as a child, I don't know why I didn't bring this up when we were on the Wicked episode or the Wicked month that we did, basically.
Sure, which is people love that.
In Chicago, like to go see the musical in the city, the commercial was always, the longer you wait is the longer you wait to see Wicked. Let that sink in.
Right. That's true. I mean, it is like essentially about the passage of time. It's beautiful. It's sort of like I guess that totally makes sense.
But you could say that about anything.
That's true. That's
true.
The
longer you wait is the longer you wait to listen to Miss Thing the Pod with Greg and Tim. Exactly. Follow us on TikTok and Instagram at Miss Thing the Pod. Sorry, back to Pujol.
Back to Pujol. I did get locked in the bathroom there in the middle of the meal.
Were you using your
No, I saved that for the next day. That mole, that 10-year mole, really keeps showing herself.
3,000.
Yeah, no, but I got locked in the bathroom there. I had to call that and be like, hey, can you let someone know that I'm locked in the bathroom here? And
I'm busy.
Yeah, and I was sort of like, okay, so this is my take-in. And I was a little like scared, but I was also a little like flattered because it was like such a nice place. Yeah, but it was my take-in. Ultimately, he came and he unlocked the door, and I was like, oh, wait a second. He was like, no, it works. And I was like, no, it didn't work. Like, trust me, it didn't work. And he was like,
it works.
It works. Are you okay? He said, are you okay to me?
Wow.
5th best restaurant in the world.
Okay, we all need to go to Pujo.
No, we definitely need to do a big Mexico City trip, and we'll do a live Miss Thing podcast on the streets.
I'm going in the next 2 years at some point.
All right. You heard it here first. Yeah. Okay. Jennifer says, all right, let's take a break. Yeah. Abracadabra, baby, ooh la la, goo ga ga. You know the words better than I do.
Dancing in the dark.
We're back.
We are so back.
We are so back. Speaking of all this Gaga talk, remember you were famously rooting through my bag before this podcast, which you tend to do. That's a tale for another time. Yeah. But
no, I do root through your bag, but it is in front of your face most of the time. Sometimes you're in the bathroom, but it is sort of like you bring a plug that we need for the podcast. I'm finishing setting up. You even leave your bag unzipped. But then sometimes I think you forget that, like, I'll go through to get that plug. Yeah. And today I found out that you were personally being sponsored by Lady Gaga.
Sure. Nurtec. I didn't know anything about that. Yeah, my doctor prescribed me that because famously I just started recently getting migraines, which I experienced for the first time in front of you.
Yes, you did.
One night.
I was so worried.
Quite frightening.
You basically slowly lost consciousness in front of me, but then you were like, I'm fine. Guys, I've learned this about you, which is that, like, when you are, like, going through something physically, you will downplay it to, like, an extraordinarily, like, scary degree where I'll be like, I don't think you're okay. You're, like, having an allergy attack. And you're like, I'm fine. And, like, your eyes are bleeding. I'm like, no, we should stop. And you're like, I'm really fine. Yeah.
And I'm like, I'm fine. Honestly. Like, I'm fine. And
you were like, you know what? I'm going to close my eyes and I'm going to lay down and I'm going to put on soothing music, but, like, you continue. I'm like, I should go.
Yeah, and yet me with the smallest inconvenience that's not, like, physical.
Yeah.
You don't want to be near me.
Oh, I know that as well, too.
Well, anyways, I think it's time to get into our Miss Thing of the week.
Okay, this Miss Thing is truly, quite literally, joy.
Yes.
She brings everyone joy. She is sunshine personified.
Truly.
She, to me, after watching her in an interview or, like, watching anything that she does, you can't not smile. She really just makes you happy.
Yeah, I have nothing to add to that. I mean, she is truly one of the greats, one of the all-time great comedians.
Yes.
And let's just get into it. Our Miss Thing of the week is Amy Poehler.
And we're doing her because it's about to be the SNL 50th.
Yeah.
There might be more SNL girlies coming up. Who knows? We haven't made those decisions yet.
No. We do it on the fly. We do what the fans need. And right now they need Amy Poehler. She's a big a favorite of both of ours. Yeah. We've been talking about doing her for a while, and this just felt like the right time. Yeah. I mean, let's get into the credits. Parks and Rec.
Mean Girls. I mean, the original cool mom.
The amount of lines that this woman has just said that have burned into our brain. Baby Mama. Sisters.
Blades of Glory.
Sisters, I'm sorry, one of the most underappreciated comedies of the last, I don't remember when it came out, but it was so funny. Hey Juan. That is so me talking Cambodian to my husband's family. Like trying to say anything. And I'm going, hey, Juan. She's like, no, hey, Juan. Like, hey, Juan.
I'm going to be honest, I don't remember that moment.
It is so fucking funny. Greta Lee she's like doing their nails and she's like, what's your name? It's the most contentious exchange. So funny.
And I mean, also the mothership, we've already referenced it, but SNL.
Right.
One of the best to ever do it.
Right. And that's also saying something.
And also one of the best laughs. She has such an infectious laugh that actually I've seen other people talk about, because she got so big on SNL that then her later years when other people were auditioning, I think it was Andy Samberg or someone like that said that when he was auditioning, Amy was there, and he was so happy to have her there because her laugh was so big and loud that it really helped to like calm him down. And it was like, she's a generous laugher, and who doesn't love a generous laugher?
Oh my God. I mean,
you are a generous laugher.
I am a generous
laugher. I am jealous of all of those people because my laugh is famously like
yeah.
It's like gasping for air or silence.
Of course. Well, I'm jealous of all the people that are in my presence since I never receive the laughter that I receive
it, you just can't hear it.
Oh, sure. Hey, that's true. It's a read, but it's true. Favorite Amy SNL sketch?
Ooh.
That's a hard question.
I think it's probably the Debbie Downer sketch with Lindsay Lohan.
Oh my God. Yes.
And
I was watching that yesterday.
So, yeah, like there's just so many I mean, also her is it like Brooklyn Beat with Maya Rudolph or
yes.
That one is so good.
My favorite is also from one of the Lindsay Lohan episodes, who randomly was like one of the best hosts of SNL. The America's Next Top Model, where Amy Poehler plays the woman with the one leg.
Yes. So who keeps farting?
She hops out. She goes, "Yeah, I farted. Jealous."
Yeah.
So fucking funny.
Also, I mean, this is like all the women in the commercial, but the one for the period where they only get one. I think it's called like annual, and it's like one period every year, and then they're like perfect, but for that one day, they're like fucking nightmares.
Oh, I don't remember that.
Oh my God, I'll show you after. It's so fucking funny. They're like running around with axes.
For some reason, as you're talking about commercials, I'm thinking Mom Jeans.
Mom Jeans, so good.
Oh my God, and of course the Hillary and Sarah Palin, the famous Hillary and Sarah Palin.
Yeah. Parks and Rec is literally so funny, so good, and like balance that thing of like, first off, everyone in that cast became mega stars because of the amount of talent that would like name another show that like it's like maybe like Euphoria, but other than that, I'm like, it's like you got Aubrey Plaza, you've got
Chris Pratt,
I know, but still became a big star. Adam Scott.
Right.
Literally now the like star of the biggest show.
I mean, Catherine Hahn. Our most listened to episode.
Yes. It's crazy. You guys love Catherine Hahn.
You guys, someone explain to us. We like Catherine Hahn too, but
give also some of that love to the other episodes too.
Can you just sort of like explain?
Yeah.
I just need answers.
We have to figure out.
We need to figure that out.
Yeah, and we're doing. If all of a sudden we do like a year of Catherine Hahn.
Yeah. But our episode, of course, this week is about Amy Poehler. And I think it's time, we've given her the credit, but I think it's time to make it all about us.
Thank God.
Yeah. I'm also happy to go first.
Go first,
because
please.
I want to say, of all of the amazing roles Amy Poehler has played, one sticks out the most to me. And that is, of course, a few years ago when she was exposed as Los Angeles' biggest water waster. Do you remember this?
I remember people being exposed for that. I didn't realize it was Amy.
Amy Poehler randomly was like the biggest offender of water waste in Los Angeles. For whatever reason, her house was like also like twice as much as like the next
Yeah.
who was like wasting an egregious amount of water. And I just remember everyone was like, whoa, that's really random.
Yeah.
Like there must have been like a leak or something going on there.
Or she probably just like wasn't aware that like she like hired someone, but yeah.
Yeah, no, she definitely wasn't aware because it was so strange. But I still think that's like the
so funny.
funniest, most random thing. And people were like kind of up in arms about it, but then they were like, well, Amy's probably like she had no harm.
That would for sure happen to me because there's no way that I'm going to do any yard work when I own a house. Like that's why I'll never own a house. But if I did, I'm like, I want to be successful enough that I can pay someone to do that, and I don't want to know a single piece of information about what's happening. Like that's your job, and then I would find out that I'm actually the biggest water waster in LA.
Yeah, absolutely. It's full Niagara Falls at your house. But yeah, so that of course reminds me of another time that I was in Mexico a few years back when I got married there.
Yes.
I got married in Baja. So this was during COVID. So a few friends and us went down across the border to Baja, and we rented this beautiful house, which actually has a name. It's called Casa Peggy. Casa Peggy is, follow her on Instagram because she's very active.
Yeah.
Sometimes on Instagram. She joined shortly after we stayed. This is a sidebar.
The Casa or?
Yeah, the Casa, Casa Peggy. So she joined Instagram, after we got married there. And she like followed all of us and was like super active on all of our pages, like leaving comments on basically everything. And then we posted like photos from our wedding, and she was like, a day to remember. And it's like it's like nice that you care, but like, okay, Casa Peggy, like off. Cool it.
Yeah. Your house.
Right, your house, like chill. But they had like it's gorgeous, and it was like on a mountainside, and there was a pool, hot tub outside. So basically, actually, the day of our wedding, the pool, the heater stopped working. Which is fine. We were like busy for the rest of the day, but we called. We were like, "Can someone like fix the heater? Like we want to use it." But they were like, "Earliest we can send someone out is tomorrow."
That's not going to work. Yeah.
What they also, which was fine actually, because we had the wedding.
Yeah.
And then we also, which was key, we had a full house filter. So, which is essential in Mexico. I mean, you can't drink the water. It's the famous thing. You're like, you're pouring in water bottles on your toothbrush.
Yeah.
But you could like actually drink the water there. And it was like everything for the showers and everything. So, that was fine. We got married. Beautiful night. That and our bathroom, it was gorgeous. It had like all these windows that looked over the ocean, and there was a jacuzzi in there.
In your bedroom?
In our bathroom in our bedroom. Okay. So we decided to use it on the night of our wedding, and like as we're filling it, it's kind of like, oh my god, this is like taking kind of a long time. Like there's like a lot of water required to sort of fill this tub, but we used it. It was our wedding night. It was like, it was fine. It was beautiful. It was much needed. Yeah. So finally it's bedtime. After the bath, it's bedtime. I get up, I go to the kitchen, I get myself a glass of water. No one else is awake. Everyone else has gone to sleep. And I drink just a little bit of water just to like hydrate myself end of the night. So I wake up tomorrow morning, day after my wedding. I'm not feeling so great. Okay. I'm not feeling so great. So I go out into the living room, and some other people are awake, and they're like, oh, by the way, the pool guy came, he fixed the heater. He did say that the filter is broken. For some reason it happens, like maybe when the water gets used too much. So just don't drink the water, but they're fixing the filter.
Oh my God.
At that sort of exact moment, it all hit me. Yeah, I spent the rest of the day after my wedding, in bed or on the toilet, because I drank a full glass of unfiltered Mexican water.
I was going to say, and I didn't know I was like, I would need to read, there would need to be a notarized piece of paper that said that this is indeed filtered, because if someone just said that their water was filtered, I don't know if I would trust it.
When I tell you, I was the most panicked about it. Of everyone. Mm-hmm. I was like, no, I'm not touching that water. Everyone's drinking it, guzzling it, loving it, living, laughing. I mean, bathing in it. They're absolutely like free to be with this water. Yeah, I do one night.
Tiny thimble.
I drink some water. I am fully like Montezuma truly exacted her revenge on me, and it felt personal.
Wow.
I don't know what I did to her.
And if only you could have that a couple days before the wedding and just get like really skinny before.
Sure.
But it happens after.
Ultimately, we had our bumps that trip, but it was truly a trip to remember. It's time. Enough about me.
Yes.
Certainly enough about Amy.
And time to make it about me.
Yeah. How do you? Yeah, exactly. How do you make Amy Poehler all about you?
Well, I make Amy about me in so many ways. There's so many different things, and I just didn't know, because I was like, this woman. I mean, I did UCB, and that's what she famously founded, but I'm not going to go in that direction. That's probably what you thought I was going to go in.
Oh, I'm so glad that we're not going in an improv direction with this.
Exactly. I'm not bringing up improv. I won't do that. I'll bring it up at some point.
You'll bring it up. You bring it up plenty.
Yeah. Uh-huh. But I think of one of her seminal films, Blades of Glory, and how her and Will Ferrell were amazing ice skaters. And that makes me think of a time that I went on a date with a guy ice skating. And to back up, I'm actually not sure, because I met this man in Palm Springs, and I think you were on this trip. I'm pretty sure, and you're going to be offended, but because I think you were, but I can't remember. Were you on the trip? I think you were. We went to Hunter's for New Year's Eve.
Oh yeah, I think so.
And there was a sport jacket guy.
I know. Yes. And then famously, I went to Palm Springs the following New Year's because we went to a party at a house.
Yes.
And then I went to Palm Springs the following New Year's Eve, and we walked into the house that we rented, and it was that house. And I was like, wait a second, I was here last year.
Crazy. Yes. So that New Year's Eve, I like locked eyes across the room with this guy. You guys were all like, I don't really see it. And mainly because he was wearing that sports jacket.
Sure.
And I don't want to brag, but I do think that, I have this amazing ability to be able to see what's underneath men's clothes. Just like picture, okay, they have a sports jacket on, but do they have a good body?
Sure.
I think so.
Miraculously, you're always wrong.
No, I'm actually pretty good about whether or not they have a good body.
Well, yeah.
But I feel like some gays can't get past the wardrobe when I can get past the wardrobe. And so...
Yeah, well, my famous predictions.
Yeah, oh, right.
I'm so good at sort of like... Well, I mean, I don't know if I'm accurate, but I'm surely always I'm diagnosing what's going on down there.
Yeah, you want to get into it?
Some other time. We'll do a special segment. Yeah.
Well... So anyways, I met him at the bar, and I was like, oh my God, this is like a real life rom-com. It's like 2 hours to midnight. We're hitting it off.
Totally.
He invites us back to his place for like a party. So like all of our friends go back to their Airbnb.
Uh-huh.
And I don't know if you remember, but then when we arrived, there was like 2 people who didn't go out that night at his Airbnb who was like, what is happening? You are not supposed to like bring anyone back. Like we talked about this. And so then we were all like,
and it was like a full party.
It was a full party, but we were like all coming in at once. And then it was that awkward moment where we were all like literally still in the doorway. And the sports jacket guy was like, well, they're coming. And he was like, I don't want them here. And we were all like, should we go? And he was like, no. And if you remember, the promise was not just that we were going to go into the hot tub. We were going to go into the hot tub. And so then we like he was like, no, just ignore him. And so then we like ignored the guy who was so pissed that we were there.
So rude. And such an ungracious host.
Yes.
Full party happening around us. And yet we're not allowed inside.
I always remember we went into the hot tub and he then just stared through the like sliding glass doors at us, like arms crossed, being like,
what was that guy on?
I don't know, but
give me some because that's so me.
Yeah, it was. So anyways, that's a tangent. But that ended up being a great night for Sports Jacket Guy and me.
Sure.
I thought this was the beginning of our journey together.
Yeah, he wore that sports jacket into the hot tub.
Yeah.
You still couldn't tell if he had a good body.
Yeah. He never took it off. Yeah.
You are so, yeah. You would meet a guy who wore a sports jacket into the tub.
And I was also just that it was rather large on him. Like, it really, he was swimming in it.
No, of course.
And anyways, cut back, he actually was from LA. And so then I was like, I don't know, maybe it's just like a fun, New Year's kiss moment, and then we won't see each other again, and I'm fine with that.
Yeah.
But then I get back to LA, he's texting me, and I'm like, wait a minute, this guy is like nice.
In love with me.
And in love with me, and this is the beginning of like the rest of my life.
Yeah, of course.
And so he texted me and he said, hey, I would love to go on a date with you, which already men in this city and in this world are never that forward, especially when you meet them in real life. Like, even on the app, it's hard enough for them to even categorize it as a date.
Yeah, he's the top 0.001%.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So the fact that he was reaching out, telling me he wants to go on a date with me, using the word date and not hang or whatever. And so I was like, all right. And then he goes, he lived in West Hollywood. I'm in Koreatown, not to dox all of us.
Yeah,
but
I feel unsafe at this moment, but
I was like,
when do I not? When I'm with you.
yeah, exactly. Keeping you on your toes. And so he was like, I know this ice skating rink in Santa Monica. So just to put geographics in the Jennifer Sh's ears, for him to drive from West Hollywood to K-Town and then for us to go to Santa Monica, and he said, I will pick you up. I was like, wow, we're going to get married, because that is chivalry right there. You're driving 30 minutes out of the way to pick me up and then drive another 30 minutes to this place.
This guy is willing to go the distance.
Exactly. I was
quite literally.
Not only are you calling it a date, but you're willing to pick me up when I live so far out of the way. I'm like, okay, get the marriage certificate ready.
Sure.
And so then he comes, he picks me up. It's great conversation, great banter. He's not wearing the sports jacket.
Right, so you get to see what's going on down there.
So I'm so excited. We get to the ice skating rink. I didn't even know there was an ice skating rink in Santa Monica, but I'm like, okay, wow.
Doesn't seem like an appropriate place for one.
No,
and
it
that's
doesn't.
fine.
But I'm just kind of like, wow, the world is opening up to me.
Right.
I'm like, I didn't even realize how beautiful this city is.
Yeah, there's a frozen lake here in Santa Monica.
I get there. He immediately is like, oh, do you want to get, because it was it was January, and he was like, do you want to get hot chocolate? And I was like, sure. And he was like, well, when I was putting on my ice skates, he went to go get it. And I was like, God, this guy is so great.
Right.
He comes back with 5 other people that I thought he just ran into. Turns out these are his good friends. And then turns out those 5 people do not leave for the rest of the night. And then I start to realize that they're all, and he was in realty, but everyone else was in entertainment. And then I was like, wait, I think not even his friends.
Selling Sunset.
Yeah. Not even was, but then the whole ice skating rink, I started to realize I was recognizing people.
Oh,
and
boy.
then I was like,
A
wait a minute,
networking event.
is this a networking event?
Oh, no.
And let me tell you, the date was a networking event.
Fuck.
Where it was and for some reason though, he's in.
Aren't they all?
Literally. He doesn't even work in my industry.
This fucking town.
Yeah.
This fucking town. The
So,
Oppenheim group.
I was so what is this? We got into the car and I was like, hey, this felt like a networking event, but this was a date, right? And he was like, oh, well, it had been a week since we had seen each other. And he was like, I just kind of felt to be honest and be very frank with you, I just kind of was getting friend vibes. And I was like, we hadn't met, we hadn't seen each other. So you asked me on a date. And then somewhere in that week from when you asked me on the date and when you saw me last, you decided that we were just going to be friends before the date even happened. So you invited me to a networking event.
Right. And I remember where we were in our careers at this point. It's babe, I'm not that important.
No.
I don't.
No, but it was even weirder. It was he wasn't trying to network to get into the industry. He was trying to help. It was even more sad. He was I want to help you network with these people.
Oh, he was helping you. I thought he was parading
out.
you since he came and got you.
He was
you're his charity.
I was truly charity.
Okay.
I was
hilarity for charity.
And I was just
Red Nose Day.
Then he was yeah, I just want to be friends with you. And I was literally I don't need, listen, to all of those Jennifershas out there.
Love you, but
if you're going, you don't. If someone tells you they just want to be friends, none of us have time for that.
No.
We all have enough friends.
Yeah.
You know? I'm not looking for more friends.
Sure.
You know?
Of course.
So, of course, in that moment, I was like, of course, I would love to be your friend. And then, you know, never spoke to him again.
Never threw your phone out.
Actually,
carved a hole in the frozen lake, threw your phone under, put the piece of ice back on.
What is crazy, little postscript to this story, is this man is so strange that every year on my birthday, because I told him that night in the New Year's night when my birthday was, he sends the most robotic, like, it just says, "Happy birthday, Tim," 2 exclams. And our conversation for the past 9 years is, "Happy birthday, Tim, thanks. Happy birthday, Tim, thanks."
You know what a good response to that would be?
What?
Thumbs up, tap back. He'll stop.
I'm going to do it.
He'll stop.
Oh my God, I'm so doing that. Wow. Look at that full circle moment. Mm-hmm. I mean, there's nowhere to go but take a break after that.
Welcome back. And it is time for Diva Down, which this week is surprisingly not me, since I just discovered my fly had been down.
Oh my gosh.
During the entire first act of this podcast.
Yeah.
Maybe I'll be next week's Diva Down.
Yeah,
But
dick flopping in the wind. If
Sure.
you're not watching this on YouTube, you're missing out.
you are missing out on all of the treats that we provide
exactly.
visually.
Yeah.
Diva Down, of course, is our segment where we take a person, place, or thing in the culture that needs our help, our unsolicited advice.
Yeah.
The type of gay guy advice that only we could give.
And this one is, I mean,
Tough stuff.
This is tough stuff. This is someone who, like, kind of classic definition of Diva Down, which is this week's Diva Down is Carla Sofia Gaston.
Carla Sofia Gaston.
Yes, exactly.
Because she's kind of the villain in this story this week.
Talk about this woman just got nominated for Best Actress, first trans woman to be nominated for Best Actress in the history of the Academy Awards.
Ever. A historic moment for the film Amelia Perez.
For Amelia Perez, but it's like she is a diva rising, one would say.
Of course,
and then, if you aren't aware, she is being basically swiftly
excommunicated
but
from
by
Hollywood.
Like the Academy is potentially like gonna rescind her nomination, but I think it's staying. I think
so.
And she's no longer like attending like most award shows. The director of Amelia Perez says he no longer wants to speak with her.
Zoe Saldana said she
feels like sad for the way the events have unfolded. Hers
has
is also,
Selena said anything? I mean,
no.
she fully like.
Well, I think Zoe is like is doing more press. So
well, Zoe's gonna win.
Yeah,
I mean,
it might be Ariana now because I think she might get swept up in the like all the Amelia Perez of it all drama.
Zoe is not gonna take that lying down for sure. She is.
I just saw like a new poll that said that with all this going on, Ariana is getting closer. So we'll see what happens with the SAGs.
Whoa.
But anyways, she basically came out like saying like Islamophobic comments, like fatphobic comments, racist comments, and just and then also just like not nice comments. One of them being about Selena Gomez. She has an affinity for calling people rats, which this is my advice. You know, all the other stuff, it's like, again, don't do that.
Yeah, of course.
And I like, you know. So maybe surround yourself with other cultures to educate yourself and realize that, like, especially you are a part of a minority. And it always feels like, why are you punching down when you are already a part of a very marginalized community?
Yeah, there sounds like a lot of injury there, personal injury there. So I do feel some sort of, you know, compassion for that. But yeah, there's no excusing what was said. There needs to be swift condemnation.
And I think for me, my like an easier one to like, you know, your beliefs are harder things to change. So an easier one that I would say is maybe stop calling people rats. I just think that that's just like an easy thing you could do. Is just like if you get the urge to call someone a rat, just think it, think it, but don't actually tweet it or talk about it.
Right.
And also, my other advice is to actually the famous studio Netflix, which is, why did you not look at her tweets? What's going on there? I don't understand. You are touting this movie. If you are in Los Angeles, Jennifer Z's, if all the ones that are not in Los Angeles, like, there are billboards every 5 feet for this movie. You are spending so much money shoving this movie down our throats, and you can't take one time to glance at the people you're touting's Twitter.
Right. They are pushing this movie on everyone, whether they like it or not, and most don't. But that being said, they are persevering. Listen, this one's really hard. First and foremost, I love your advice of not just sort of think it and not say it, or not tweet it. Yeah. And I think my first piece of advice is trans people, get off Twitter. There's nothing for you there. Yeah. Whether you have anything negatives to say or positive to say. Elon Musk doesn't support you, so I think let's start with getting off Twitter. Yeah. I think that's my advice for everyone, actually. Second piece of advice. It's seeming like Hollywood maybe isn't your town at this point, Carla Sofia. Yeah, I don't think you have a future as an actress. Unfortunately for you. But you do. So let's look at your, let's figure this out. Let's look at your skill set. You are really good at writing a bunch of really mean things about people online. Sort of like you're an equal opportunity offender. You have experience on a grueling campaign trail. Carla, I think you'd make a great president of the United States. Carla Sofia Gashon for president of the United States.
Our first woman
2028. Carla, our first woman president. I think you've got what it takes. Look at what's in that office now.
Certainly in this climate, apparently that is actually the type of woman that our country wants.
If, of course, we ever have an election again and wherever, we do have someone replace the king that's sort of sitting in there right now, I think you would be a perfect candidate. And, the campaign
and the
starts
fact that she's
now.
not even American. Like, that doesn't matter. Yeah.
Could you imagine after Trump, our president is Carla Sofia Gashon, a trans immigrant woman.
Yeah. But to end it on a happier note. I don't have anything.
Oh, all right. Well, in that case, follow us on Instagram and TikTok, of course, at MissThingThePod. Rate, review.
Give us 5 stars.
And with that,
we love you.
We love you.
See you next week.
Adios.
Goodbye.
Miss Thing Podcast is created, executive produced, and hosted by Greg Trimmer and Tim Zientek.
It's produced and edited by Benji Simons, with cover art and additional creative support by Claude Zeins.
Follow us on TikTok and Instagram at MissThingThePod.
New episodes drop every Tuesday. Watch on YouTube or listen on Spotify, Apple Podcasts, or wherever you get your podcasts.
Please subscribe, rate, and review, but only raves. Strictly 5 stars and above.
Follow Greg at Greg Trimmer and Tim at Tim_Zientek on all social media. Bonk.